The untold truth about the miracle of wine is found in several verses of the Bible that I will tell you below. One of them is the most famous that will prove that the wine was not alcoholic. Exactly this, I know, seems unbelievable, but today we will explore together this story full of mystery and symbolism. Just imagine a heavenly, pure wine without a drop of alcohol. Is it possible? This journey will lead us to question whether there is something so extraordinary that even the best wineries would be jealous. Stay with me, this conversation promises to reveal fascinating secrets.
Get ready, brothers, to uncover the secrets of this biblical narrative that goes beyond the ordinary, challenging our expectations about what we think we know about the transformation of water into wine. By the end of this video, you will not only have a deeper understanding of the miracle, but you will also be intrigued by the possibilities beyond the obvious. Because Jesus is wonderful, he goes beyond our understanding. So grab your glass full of grape juice and sit back comfortably, and let's explore together this divine enigma that will undoubtedly surprise even the most skeptical. And if you have a friend or family member who drinks wine or any alcoholic beverage, and when you tell him not to get drunk because it is a sin, and he says, "But it is in the Bible that Jesus turned water into wine." But now, dear brothers, you will have the correct explanation behind this riddle, and you will be able to explain to them that there was no alcohol in this wine. Subscribe to the channel and stay with us, because what we are going to explore goes beyond what the eyes can see. Let's go. So to begin, let's go to the verse where Jesus goes to a wedding, John 2:1-11. And on the third day there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. And Jesus and his disciples were also invited to the wedding. And when the wine was finished, Jesus' mother said to him, "They have no wine. Woman, what do I have with you? My time has not yet come." His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." And there were placed 6 stone jars of the kind used by the Jews for purification, and each had room for 2 or 3 jars. Jesus said to them, "Fill the jars with water," and they filled them to the brim. And he said unto them, "Take him out now, and take him to the master of the room," and they took him. When the owner of the feast tasted the water turned into wine, without knowing where it came from, but the servants who drew the water knew, the host of the feast called the groom and said to him, "Each man first presents good wine, and when men drink well, which is worse. But you have kept the good wine until now." This beginning of miracles did Jesus in Cana in Galilee, and manifested his glory, and his disciples believed in him. Now comes the first confirmation that the wine that Jesus made did not have alcohol. Let's reflect on verse 3. Mary says, "And when the wine was gone, the mother of Jesus said unto him, They have no wine." Here you notice that the wine that was before is finished. If it's finished, it means that everyone drank at least a little. But think with me. Let's suppose that everyone who drank the wine didn't get drunk, but you know that excess makes you drunk, right? With that, dear friend, Jesus would not make alcoholic wine that would leave people drunk. He would go against Galatians 5:19-21, which says, "Envy, drunkenness, carousing, and other things like these. I repeat what I have already said. Those who do these things, they will not receive the kingdom of God." Here in Galatians, they say that if they get drunk, the kingdom of God will not reign. So here I prove that the wine was non-alcoholic, because if Jesus made it with alcohol, they would be drunk due to the excess they had already had before finishing. Well, now if you ask in the comments like this, "But why is there this word in the Bible, since it is not alcoholic?" I can explain it to you, but first leave your like on the video. It helps YouTube to deliver it to people interested in this subject. Let's go. There then, why wine? To begin the explanation, I will give an example of a word in Portuguese. The word manga in Portuguese means 2 things: the fruit manga to eat and the sleeve of the t-shirt where the arms go. This example makes us wonder if in the past the word wine had no meaning other than just alcoholic wine. And I can tell you that yes, I will try it. Wine in Greek is said oinos, which means both alcoholized wine and grape juice, for example. Anacreon was a Greek lyric poet. He was an advisor to Polycrates, tyrant of Samos. In one of his Greek odes, he says, "Squeeze the grape, let the wine, oinos, come out." Fermented wine. Now, as I said, the word oinos can refer to both fermented or alcoholic wine and grape juice. It is the context of the story that you have to study, because the Apostle Paul says it in Ephesians 5:18. No, get drunk with wine, oinos. Here he is referring to wine made alcoholic by the fact that you get drunk. In Hebrew, the same thing means yayin, which appears in the Bible 140 passages in the Old Testament, also means alcoholized wine or grape juice. What I want you to understand is the context of the story, because I've heard many say that the wine that Jesus transformed was alcoholic, and no, it wasn't. For example, in Genesis chapter 9, verse 1, when it says that Noah drank the wine and Yayin became drunk. The context says that it was an alcoholic wine, but in Lamentations chapter 2, verse 12, it talks about boys and nursing children lacking bread and wine, yayin. Logically, it could only be talking about unfermented grape juice, as wine does not would be given to children. Will they understand the difference in context? If you still don't understand, I'll give another explanation. When we study Greco-Roman culture, we discover something very interesting, that alcoholized wine was not seen as a good thing. It was not something cool to drink anywhere, but then people didn't drink wine, took it. More on Roman knights and Abaco cults, but when you take the Stoic philosophers, the Epicureans, you take, for example, the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, who was emperor of Rome, they detonated. So you notice that it was not common, even in pagan Rome, to consume wine, much less to give it to a newborn child. So how did they enjoy wine and be happy? They had the habit of taking some wine to mix with the water. This was done because wine, in addition to bringing joy, also had the power to purify water. At that time, there was no idea of filters as we know them today. It is interesting to note that even Paul, when advising Timothy, mentions that it is not just water that one should drink, but also a little wine. He understood that to ease an upset stomach, medicinal wine was a wise choice. Several Roman authors, such as Plutarch and Tacitus, corroborate this practice. Pure wine without admixture of water was not welcome. In Revelation, when God speaks of the final plagues and divine wrath is manifested, it is said that people will drink the wine of the wrath of God prepared without mixing. This expression is fascinating, indicating that wine was usually mixed with water to avoid drunkenness. Furthermore, it is worth mentioning that they produced a lot of raisin wine, transforming it into grape juice, a tasty and non-intoxicating alternative. These practices reveal how the culture surrounding wine in ancient times involved not only the pleasure of the drink, but also a wisdom in balancing its effects. Fascinating, isn't it? So friends, the Bible warns against the use of wine or other alcoholic beverages. See Proverbs 21. Wine is a mocker and fermented drink provokes fights. It is not wise to let oneself be dominated by them. This verse highlights 3 problems associated with irresponsible alcohol consumption. Here in this video, I prove to you that Jesus did not make alcoholized wine, but rather grape wine. And I also showed you that the Bible warns you about these uses. But if you still say, more is not among the 10 commandments, then it is not a sin. Yes, it is true, but the 10 commandments summarize God's ethical principles and not detail by detail of everything that should or should not do. It's not all there, for example. It doesn't say not to enslave them there. It doesn't say not to have racist or prejudiced practices, but note that in the New Testament, Jesus expands the 10 commandments, saying, for example, that even swearing can be a way of transgressing the commandment that says, "Thou shalt not kill." When exploring the biblical passages, we realize that the message goes beyond simple prohibitions. It invites us to consider the consequences of our choices. Jesus, by transforming water into grape wine, offers a symbolic example of this balance, inviting us to enjoy the pleasures of life responsibly. So, my Christian friends, I'm not here saying whether the use of alcoholic wine is right or wrong, but Jesus warned us, and I don't want to take the risk that in Galatians 5:19-21, it says that whoever gets drunk will not reign the kingdom God, my friend. You liked the video? I hope you understood. See you in the next video, and leave your suggestions of topics you want to see on the channel. See you next time.